Hello and welcome to the Janky-B-Cast. Despite my professional-sounding demeanour, the podcast shall sound nothing like this, as all participating are a bunch of idiots. This podcast, I give two of my friends a challenge each, one to play a game, the other to watch a movie, both of my choosing. I then have them sum up and review their experience with the game and movie, after which they are tasked with finding the connection between the two. I hope you enjoy the podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Janky-B-Cast. I'm your host Rhys, and with me are Sam and Foley. Say hi, guys.
Hello.
Hi guys.
I'm pretty sure you made that joke last time. Sam?
I expect so, yeah.
Yeah, almost certainly. I mean, if it's anything that we're going to be known for is repetition, if we even get beyond 2 episodes. I mean, my God, it has been a bit of a rigmarole for doing this, because it has been over a whole year since we did. Yeah, genuinely, it's been over a whole year since we did the last one. We did the last one in October of last year, and it is December. Probably shouldn't completely date it just in case, but it is very strongly mid-December 2023. Had to move something out of the way so I could look at the date on my computer then.
Very consistent we are. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, every 1 and a bit years, that sounds about reasonable for a podcast, doesn't it? Hopefully they'll be a bit more consistent, but no promises, neither to me nor to anyone watching this. So all of 2 people.
Catch up next year, yeah.
Yes. I'm looking at any notes that I might have had on previous one, and I have nothing. I don't think there's anything that I wrote down to call back to. Is useless.
Did you write our ratings for last time?
I did write down your ratings from last time. We can get straight onto them. Or rather we could if I'd opened the ratings tab. Okay, so last time we had The Fairy Tale Adventure. It was rated by Sam 7 out of 15.
Strong 7.
Which, if I'm honest, I still think is a bit too high for it. But, you know, that is still less than half, so fine. And we've also got Atomic Blonde, which is still unrated, as we've got Legally Blonde, which was a 14 out of 15 from Foley.
Did I say 14?
You said 14 out of 15.
It's a really great film.
Yeah.
I'm glad I got it mixed up, to be honest.
Genuinely, I am also glad, because the link was pretty tenuous at best.
Yeah, neither of us remember what the link was.
Oh, the link was just that I hate both of them. That's how bad that link was. It was just that I hate both of them. But obviously, you reviewed a good film instead of the bad film that I don't. I'd say bad. A lot of people rate that film quite highly. They like the action sequences. They like some of the character dynamics. And James McAvoy is very good in it. It's just a shame that if it weren't for the fact that I had seen, Mad Max Fury Road, I would have assumed just from watching Atomic Blonde that Charlize Theron can't act. So it's very good that I saw Mad Max Fury Road.
It just feels like another John Wick, though, doesn't it? Really?
It feels like another John Wick, but not as good because the character is boring.
Yeah.
And uninteresting. Have you watched it now?
I can remember watching it. It's one of those, I watched it and I just instantly forgot about it.
Yeah. You see what I mean about James McAvoy being the only good character?
He's in, it's going to be great.
I mean, that's true. As long as it's got James McAvoy, it's probably going to be great. So, first, since we're on the subject of films, or rather we're on the subject of films, how about we start with Foley today? What film was it that I gave you?
So the film that you gave me to watch was The Magnificent Seven, which is the American remake of The Seventh Samurai from, 1954, was it?
1960. Not quite 1954, 1960.
Oh, what about... So it was the original, though, wasn't it?
Seven Samurai, I think, was 1954.
And then, the American...
Yes.
And, so I've seen Seven Samurai first, and then... You still haven't seen it?
It's on my tablet, and I've had it on there for 4 years, and I forgot about it for 4 years.
I hate you even more for this now. Right.
Sorry.
So, go off my list. There are a few things I did like. As I think I loved the opening music. Love that. Like anything Western. Then I liked the setup, but then it just wasn't good. It's just like I like Steve McQueen. He's just instantly cool. Anything he does, he's suave, he's awesome, he's very smooth with the ride, like horse riding and all that. And but some of the characters are so boring and so annoying. Like it's like, what is it? Is it Charles Bronson who plays like who's like the silent one? He's like deadly.
Charles Bronson is the one that they encounter towards the start. Charles Bronson is the character at when the character they find at the beginning or towards the beginning. He's the one who's cutting wood with no top on.
That was it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I found the opening quite weird as well. Like the fact, is it like an Indian guy gets like burned in this town?
I wouldn't have been surprised.
And then out of nowhere, like this rider comes on the carriages and is like, "Oh, I need a ride, like I need a driver." And Steve McQueen just turns up, like, "Oh, okay." Then they just ride off. I'm like, I don't get what's going on. Okay. And then what was it? He's got this one lad who tries to act all tough. I forgot what his actual name is. That's how much I pay attention to this character. What? I want to know what his name is. But he's trying to prove himself to be like a real tough gunslinger. But then, I think some guy just slaps him and he starts firing with his gun or so. I was like, okay. So he can't handle the slap, but all right. And then I was following the tradition of like the original film. They're being asked to come to this town, protect them from these outlaws. And I thought, the scenes of them training these I think they're farmers and all that to like train up and all that. But the problem I have with this film is the fact this is a Western film. So they're like practicing with shovels and sticks, and the outlaws come with guns. And it's like, I'm like, I don't know how this is going to be helpful. And I didn't really do much during the fight, to be honest. so I couldn't really do much. I was just trying to whack with sticks and a shovel. I'm like, it's not really going to work out, is it?
No, not particularly.
No, and I was like,
that's probably a bit of a holdover from when they're fighting the samurai. A stick needs to protect from a sword. A stick can't really protect from a bullet.
They just forgot to update that one little bit. And it's just, I think another grudge I have against this film is what I love about the original is the fact, like, although the samurais are like strangers and all that, and they had kind of forced in this situation, it was lovely, like, seeing them bond and like actually come like kind of like a weird family. Like they feel like very brotherly. Like they, again, it's a similar character in the original where you try to prove like, oh yeah, I am I am a relative like an old samurai, so it's like I have every right to be here. But he's kind of like a joke character, so they kind of pick on him like a little brother. I mean, I love that. It feels natural. But then this one, the kid, he can't handle slaps, just shouting and then firing his gun. Like, I don't like this character.
If I'm not mistaken, does this character for a bit try to join the baddies?
Yes, I think he does.
Yeah, and it's oh, you've got a lot of conviction, don't you?
So I couldn't want this character. I couldn't want this character more dead, to be honest.
There was one character I hated worse than him, but I'll explain him in a minute.
I'll be interested to hear this. But I kind of enjoyed this, the Magnificent Seven, for what it was. It's just, I think the characters and all weren't that interested, and I feel like even the final, everything that was leading up to the big defending the village and all that was so rushed.
Oh yeah,
so,
over in seconds.
It's over in seconds because they're fighting with shovels and sticks.
It's fighting with shovels and sticks and guns. With a sword, you can at least have like each kill between each person probably would take a good like 30 seconds minimum because. And that's minimum because people are fighting with swords. There's like actual skill and stuff involved. In the Magnificent Seven, you just aim, shoot, and that's it. They're dead. Done. They're dead. So, okay.
It's just so I don't know how or what the thought process was that, but like it's what it annoyed me so much. But I thought okay, it was entertaining and all that, but. Yeah, it's just I just couldn't help but just keep thinking back to it. Just made me want to watch the original more. Really, I was like, that film did so much better, and like that's like 3 hours. That's 3 hours long as well. I was
like, I had more time to actually develop characters as well. Probably help.
Exactly. I feel like the characters in this were a bit one tone, I guess. But I think it might be in Charles Bronson's character, like because I think he actually cared for like some these little
Yeah,
kids.
that's my favourite character. He's the only
Yes.
good character in the thing.
So I thought he was bored. Like, although I said I thought he was
Yeah.
bored, but I liked the fact he actually grew. Like, he actually felt like a connection to these people
Yeah.
instead of just like, oh, it's a job. Like,
He has a little sort of like speech to the kids of like the people of like saying how if anyone's a coward, it's him who's a coward. And I love that speech. It's such a good speech. And then like, 2 scenes later, he's just dead, and they don't mention him again. And you're like,
no,
where's he gone?
You thought he had a bit more impact, to be honest.
It's just,
but he's like, oh.
Is he the one that just? Is he the one who gets shot and rolls off a roof?
I think he does. Yeah, because I think he tries to get him out the way by line of fire. It's like, what are you doing out here? Because they're trying to follow him. It's like, probably not the best idea.
So, let's follow the big gun man who's going for a fight.
I swear they followed him to a graveyard. I went, this is rather fitting. But yeah, I think he does try and after he gets like them to safety, he goes up on the roof and as you do, try and take out as much as you can. But like, yeah, I think he had a really great character moment where it's like, yes, okay, it feels like he's actually connected to these people. Where everyone else, oh, who's that one guy? I thought he was so boring. Sorry, I've got the actors. His character. This is how boring he is. His name's just Lee, and I think he was like he had a drinking problem or something. Like, I think he had like dual pistols. But it kept building up like he had this like night terrors, like recurring kind of like trauma, but then nothing. I think he had this weird scene where he wakes up from like a drunken dream, and then a couple of scenes later he just shot. I was like,
the character that I dislike the most is the character who I can't remember what his name is. It's been a long time since I've seen it. It might have been Yul Brynner's character, but he's the character who this entire time has been there like to Steve McQueen's character, just like, the only reason that you're doing this is because they're going to give you loads of money. You're getting paid a lot of money for this, aren't you? And he's there like, no. It's like, I know you're lying to me. I'll get to the bottom of this. And he's the only character who has a slow death in Steve McQueen's arms. It's there like, I know you're doing this for the gold. I know. And he's there like, yeah, there is gold, man. There's gold. I'm sorry, there is gold. I've lied to you. He's like, I knew it. And then he dies. And you're like, the entire time that character was dying in his arms, I was just sat there thinking, just die already. You are the worst character in the thing. You have ruined any ability for Charles Bronson to have this slow, meaningful death because your actor is one of the big stars, and you're such a crap character. Like, oh my god, it's infuriating. Genuinely, it felt like a watch tapping moment where you just look at the watch like, come on, die already. Leave the film. Exit stage graveyard hole. I don't know.
Graveyard. What?
It's a grave.
That's where I would put this film, to be honest. I think I've got the physical copy. I'll throw it into a graveyard hole.
That's fair. And it's such a shame because it's a film where the villain is played by Eli Wallach. Like, he is the ugly from The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and he's not good in this movie.
Is that seriously him?
Yeah, that's Eli Wallach.
Oh my god, I didn't even know.
I know.
Oh, I'm fucking idiot.
Honestly, it's fine, man. The film, it feels like it drops so short, in my opinion. There was a lot of potential, and it just didn't hold up to that potential. Yeah,
it's like, because you got like great American spaghetti westerns, you got like Clint Eastwood films that are great, like to watch.
Oh, yeah,
and then I feel like to remake like such a classic film, like the premise is pretty much there. Like you got, and I think characters being interesting, but they're all so boring. Like although like I said, some of them have redeeming qualities, but I didn't really care about any of them. So when they died, I was more relieved.
Yeah.
So it's like, great, this means towards the end now.
Like, I completely understand that point of view. It's just such a shame because there's just so much potential for something, which was obviously built upon later because this one had 3 sequels.
It had 3. Yeah, she had sequels.
Yeah, they're on my shelf. Let me see if I can see them from here. They might be behind something. But one of them I know is The Magnificent Seven Ride Again. That is one of them.
They didn't just increment the number.
No, they didn't. They didn't.
They didn't just bring them back to life, did they? They Ride Again, like.
No, I think it's like a different one. There's The Magnificent Seven. There's Let me just check. The Magnificent Seven
Returns.
film series. Yeah. Okay, so there was the Magnificent Seven. Okay, you were right. There's Return of the Seven. There's Guns of the Magnificent Seven.
It's not so
And the
bad.
Magnificent Seven Ride.
Oh
That's
dear,
bad.
That's the fourth.
that is terrible.
This one, the first one came out in 1960. The second one came out in 1966. The third one came out in 1969, and the fourth one came out in 1972.
Oh damn.
To put it in perspective, the first Magnificent Seven has a 7.7 on IMDb, 89% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Rather fitting.
Yeah, I think that one is respectable for what it did, but it just feels like a lot of wasted potential by modern standpoints. That's what I reckon would be fair. The Return of the Seven has a 5.5. Guns of the Magnificent Seven has a 5.7, and Ride has a 5.6. So they all became just mediocre, which is a shame because apparently the fourth one's got Lee Van Cleef, who's the bad and the good, the bad and the ugly.
Are you serious?
I'm serious. He plays a character called Chris Adams, and I've never heard it. Forced by personal circumstances, Marshal Chris Adams recruits a writer and 5 prisoners to help him eliminate a gang of Mexican bandits.
Why a writer?
Journalist? Maybe? I don't know. Is he just
It was
there?
like a writer, 2 prisoners, a bookseller. It's 5 prisoners and a writer.
That disagrees Western,
a marshal
doesn't it?
and a writer. It doesn't look like anybody else. Well, big from my perspective is in it. There's probably some actors who were quite well known at the time, but I don't recognise any of them because I think that they haven't aged as classic icons of cinema as much as someone like Steve McQueen and Eli Wallach.
Of course.
But yeah, so what would you rate that before I get into some of the existing reviews to try and sway you either way? Out of 5 for story, what would that be?
I'd have to give that a 5. No. Did you say it's... No. I would say I have to give it a 4.
The story
It's
is
like-
4.
It's like, it was there, but then I was like, no, I don't know. Could have been better.
That's right. So the design of the film, the aesthetic, the general sort of feeling. What do you reckon for the design?
I have to give it a 5 because it has that feel of a Western. I was like, I think that's what I love about it. Is like you just know it is a Western. The aesthetic is there.
And the final one is out of 5 for character, and why is it a 1 or a 0?
I'm gonna give it a 2 because, like we said, I think all of them are quite one tone. But I do generally think Charles Bronson's character had the best.
Yeah.
He kind of like bumped up with him. Like
There's glimpses of something good, but it's just not quite there.
no, not there. I would have said like Steve McQueen because I think, if I can remember correctly, I remember how smoothly I think he picked up one of the farmer girls, like the daughters. But like he just picked her up and just put her at the back of the horse. But that was smooth. I'm like, oh, that is Steve McQueen for you. But but Charles Bronson just takes it.
Yeah.
But his little cat, it's just so wholesome. I love that.
So, funnily enough, overall, that gives you an 11 out of 15, which sounds like it would have been a very good movie, but that's just because the story is good because it's something else already.
It's already
the design is good because it's a classic golden age
a classic.
Western.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's weird seeing that story now
Just not a good
being
one.
used. It's so like because even Star Wars have been using it now. Like in the actual Mandalorian, and they actually did. I don't know if you've seen the shorts they've been doing on Disney Plus. Like,
I haven't, no.
like this, it couldn't be more in your face, which I do love.
Solo, I think if you saw, had a really in your face moment because there's a moment where there's a character who's got a gun, and then Han Solo's character is sort of he's walking across, and then he just sort of stops in front of the camera, and it's in front of the waist. You know, that classic waist shot. And I'm there he's not going to, is he? And then he just unclips the top of his gun holster, and his hand's just ready on it, full on, fingers shaking. And I'm there thank you. Thank you. Very nice. Very nice. You get points for this film. Well done. I actually really like Solo. I thought it was really good. Same with Rogue One. But I really liked The Last Jedi as well, and Sam does not. as he is.
Well,
See, I do
Solo, I just kind of didn't care about.
I have 2 reviews for The Magnificent Seven 1960. Which
Oh,
one
God.
would you rather listen to first?
Ooh,
One of them is very short.
I have one question first.
Oh, yeah.
This one or the remake of it that came out fairly recently? Which would you prefer to watch?
Who's this question being addressed to? Me?
Either.
Okay,
Anyone
Foley?
that's actually seen both of them.
Yeah, Foley?
I would definitely say the remake.
I 100% agree
Yeah.
with you. It is one of my
Nice.
favourite westerns. I love it a bit.
I remember you wouldn't stop going on about. I was like, it can't be that good. And I watched it. I was like, it is pretty good. So
Yeah, it's really good. Like, somehow they made a Chris Pratt not act like Chris Pratt. And I'm like, how have you done this? This is amazing. He's not just
Because-
being Chris Pratt.
because these guys actually had talent and good writing.
Yeah. Like, I got Sam to watch this film. I watched it with him because I really wanted him to watch it. I think it was on the same day that I got him to watch
that's
Kung
it.
Fu Hustle. I think it was, or the same sort of
It
days.
may have been, yeah, a similar time at least.
Kung Fu Hustle, what
It's
a
a great film. I've
film.
seen that game
If I
last
remember
year.
correctly, they both are white boxes with red text on. So, so that's
Oh, yeah,
just
of course,
a
yeah.
very similar aesthetic for the DVD box. Yeah, 100%. I would rather watch the reboot. Or
Yeah,
remake.
100%.
One more. So, which one would you rather have first? Do you want me to read the titles?
Yeah, God.
Okay, so this one I've got is called "The Movie Filmmakers Should Learn From." That is the title of this review.
God.
And the other review is called "The Magnificent Waste of Time and Money." One of these is a lot longer than the.
Right.
I'm
Can
not
we
be
listen-
reading all of it.
Can you listen to the first one then? Because I want to have some notes.
The movie filmmakers should learn from that one.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm just
this
going to
one
guess that the longer one is the negative one.
that may be the case. Okay, so this review just says, this is the type of movie people should learn from. Before any director starts filming anything, he should watch it. The storyline is simple. Plenty of characters, yet you cannot mix one with another. I disagree with that. I only remember 4 of them, to be honest. Everyone else I just blends together. Action-packed yet clear. Great soundtrack. Characters that stay long in your memory. Again, not for good reasons, all of them.
No, yeah, but not for my reason.
Yeah. And you want to watch it again and again. I regret watching it the first time, so I don't know what this guy's on about. This was from
I
someone
want to
called Fajny Film, and that was a 10 out of 10 review. Yeah.
I'm
I
sorry,
know
what?
Fajny
Fajny
Film.
film.
Fajny Film. That's what it
What
says.
does fudge mean?
I don't know. It's
It
F-A-J.
sounds odd.
So maybe that's their surname or something like that. I'm trying to be.
It means yogurt, I think. I think it's a yogurt. Is it F-A-G-E?
F-A-J.
Oh, J.
Yeah. Do you want me to read some of this other review?
100%.
It
Yes,
starts,
please.
the first paragraph is, let me start by saying that I have seen a lot of action films, and especially Western classics, most of them are by Clint Eastwood, that totally surpasses this nonsense. Take the Dollars trilogy, it's the greatest set of films ever made in the history of cinema, set new standards. However, the case with Magnificent Seven is that it's not only the worst remake ever, also the cheapest in all aspects, especially the cast and acting, ruining the legacy of Akira Kurosawa's original film Seven Samurai. They've put the comma between Kurosawa and the S instead of an apostrophe, I think. God, the punctuation in this is abysmal, but
They just
Yeah, well, that angry.
Very-
The grammar wasn't on point.
yeah. If it wasn't for the bad cast and acting, I might have enjoyed this. The only plus point, is the direction and build-up of story, but it failed at the end. John Sturges, the director, did his best, but overall it's a solid mess. So just because it's an old film and apes other films... What's apes other films?
Yeah, it means that it's copying other films.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I see, okay.
Considering crosswords had a lot.
Thank you for clarifying that, Sam. I'm glad we got someone smart here. A Western remake with cowboy style don't mean that it's good to be worth your money and time. Someone's put the cast. Yul Brynner, the only good actor, along with Eli Wallach.
The only good.
Here we go. Steve McQueen was making faces all the time and drinking every 5 seconds. Charles Bronson did some great acting, especially in the scene where he's telling children to respect their fathers.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Was Seven Samurai, the original film, a comedy? I don't think so. They made changes here that would suit the Western audience, and in the procedure they forgot to stay true to the source, which was the real seriousness that Seven Samurai presented. The action scenes here are way over the top. Jumping and shooting.
No. Yeah. I will say there are some really funny moments in the Seven Samurai. It's not all seriousness. It had that. No, I disagree with that. I don't want to get so angry about it.
Okay, there's a lot in here. I've skimmed it very quickly. The overall is where it starts getting quite funny again. Overall, the whole project is weird. This remake should never have happened. The critics and people who love this are blind and look at the sequels and the TV series of the same name that came after this did not even work because this franchise cashed on the name of Akira Kurosawa. I'd say to talk further about this and watch this is a true waste of time and hard-earned money. It is believed that Tom Cruise is trying to make this film. If he is, then I'll say it will be a gold film. Tom Cruise is best and never disappoints, unlike this mess. Forget the DVD as it includes self-promoting propaganda and never-ending show-off interviewers are thrown in, except Eli Wallach commentary, which I thought was hilarious to listen. My rating is 1 out of 10, the most awful film ever made. Don't waste your money and time. Skip with 2 P's. This and see any Clint Eastwood film any day.
No, we haven't.
So it's clear that you hated the film.
Yeah,
just a decent time.
Very positive. I love the fact he said it didn't work. I think that's the best. The Magnificent Seven, it didn't work. That's what it should be called.
Yeah, it should be a sequel. Yeah.
The Magnificent Seven.
Still better than Ride.
Oh, God.
I'll pay to watch that instead. If it knows it's not great.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Cool. And just a quick break for a word from our sponsors.
Hi there. It's totally me, Bill Gates. Video games are getting super realistic nowadays. You should get Windows 98 or whatever Windows it was to play the hit new video game, Doom. Using DOS is such a drag, yo. Anyway, I'm gonna go smoke a joint and skate, or any rad new things the kids are doing. Maybe they are enjoying the old Magnificent Seven. What a classic film that is. I hope nobody ever tries to call it anything mean. That's all from me, Mr. Gates. Not a random text-to-speech tool, for a very real and not at all fake sponsorship. Peace out, y'all.
Got sponsors?
No, I'm just going to put a stupid skit in here of made-up sponsors.
It's the way you're looking at us. I was like, are we one of the sponsors?
No. It's funny because I knew that I didn't tell you two on purpose that this was going to be a joke because I knew Sam would figure out that it's a joke.
Yeah.
And I knew that Foley was going to be like, what? What are you talking about? And this is episode 2. There's not really sponsors.
We like signed so we got realised. I was like,
sucking someone into it after one episode, and a year later.
And they've just been holding the check and going like, any day now, any day they'll give this a
I forgot to put a limb on the contract.
Cool. So now we come to the segment which I've called "What I've Been Doing." I mean, when I had originally wrote that this is what the segment was going to be, it was only like 4 weeks after we'd done the first podcast, so I'd assumed that there would be like, I don't know, what have I been doing for the last 4 or 5 weeks, maybe a month and a bit. Instead, it's what have I been doing for the last year? I've written 2 plays. I'm writing another one. I've been writing a game for this Canadian lady. I probably can't talk much about it.
You've been writing that for like a year now, haven't you?
Oh yeah, more than a year. It's just I'm much further down along the line. I've got a full draft, and it's over 300 pages.
Okay, I was going to ask, is it a long game, or are you just really slow at writing?
No, so it's over 300 pages. But right. the full one of the full early drafts has been written. I want to say for like about half a year. However, it's side quests, NPC dialogue, all these kind of things I'm writing, and then it's also just sort of like, obviously that was the initial draft, so it's like sort of like filing it down, sanding off some of the rough edges, cutting some scenes, changing dialogue around, altering character motivations. Like I've recently redone the entire end fight and the beginning prologue-y sort of stuff, literally this week for those two, just with some sort of like notes and things. Not going to spoil too much, but it's gone from being less sort of like obvious as to who is the overarching sort of like theme, to being just sort of like one of the subtext. Basically, the initial draft, as with most of my initial drafts, there is not much subtext, because subtext I find is easier to do later, because then you can just get rid of dialogue and make it more...
Just trim it down, edit it.
Yeah, because dialogue takes up more space on a page than action, for anyone who has any experience of writing will know, which Foley should know. Sam does not have a background like me and Foley. His background is a bit more...
Don't do it, Sam. You ruin your life.
From Hong Kong, and they don't have writing over there.
Okay then, Mr. Hong Kong, we'll get to your segment then, shall we?
I mean, it's not untrue, is it?
I mean, you are from Hong Kong.
That is true, yeah.
And you...
Mr. Hong Kong. Sorry.
It's like, you know, our version of Mr. Worldwide. It's just Mr. Hong Kong. And you're not even, like, Asian. You're like... It's just Mr. Hong Kong. You're British, which is very in line with like the 70s and 80s.
Well, it was almost still British at that time.
It was, wasn't it? I thought it was like 95 or 97.
No, it was 97, but I was also
97.
born in 97.
I remember this because there's a game called Hong Kong 97, and it's a real piece of shit. It's so bad.
I made it to celebrate my birth. And that's why the quality is how it is.
I'm just going to put it to you this way. The main character is like called like Ping or something like that, or Ching. And he is in the canon of... I'll be very quick, but in the canon of the game, he is Bruce Lee's relative. It's an unnamed relative, if I remember, but he is Bruce Lee's relative called Ching or something like that. It's either Ching or Ping. It's not something Ing. He is Bruce Lee's relative, and he is a still image in the cutscene, because it's like an NES game, of Jackie Chan from, I think, the film Meals on Wheels or something like that. And it looks so bad. And he has to basically kill 1 million people or something like that. One hit and you're dead, by the way. And the game just loops forever with this really bad soundtrack.
Is it like the 1-inch punch kind of thing? Like
probably, but you die basically in one hit, and you got to shoot balls of energy at people coming down at you. It's fucking ridiculous.
Nice.
It sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Picturing Space Invaders.
There is obviously not going to often talk about people who are more famous on this podcast, but Angry Video Game Nerd, AVGN, has done a video on it, which is the people who made it are huge trolls. But yeah, it was just a group of trolls before internet trolling was a big thing.
FFS Rhys. You should not talk about dodgy subjects on a comedy podcast. It's really mean. This part was cut due to being too NSFW for the podcast.
I'm not sure I'll keep that, but I think it'll be funny if I just have the bit where it says I'm not going to keep that and not explain to anybody what that was. So, Sam, could you tell me what the game was that I gave you?
The game was Doom brackets 1993, also known as Doom 3 according to Discord, but it's not. So,
what did you think?
Yeah, it's a shooter, a first-person shooter from 30 years ago.
Literally,
and
it
plays like a shooter from 30 years ago.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, not too surprising. But yeah, I mean, it's still fun to play, so gotta give him props for that.
Cool. Any sort of like features that you specifically remember liking? Anything that you remember particular?
Well, so the gameplay is it's good. It's if I was to describe it in like its most important bit would be that it's just very fast paced the entire time. You're constantly on the move trying to avoid being shot, and just eventually just sprinting around through the level, shooting everything that moves. It's great. I was playing on what I thought was the second highest difficulty at the time, and apparently there's another difficulty which is just that one, but with a plus at the end. Apparently that's harder, but that didn't show up in the options originally. But yeah, I'm not sure quite why. Yeah.
I don't think I played it enough for that.
No. If you go into chapter select rather than just starting a game, it shows up then.
Oh. Well, weird.
The hardest difficulty shows up anyway. I'm not sure why that one's still there. But yeah, it's good. But that intonation area is there for a reason. It's been 30 years. There's definitely been improvements in large portions of game development.
Yeah, namely
the story,
one of them, you can look up and down.
Yeah, I mean, you don't actually notice it all that much. So the way it works, Foley, if you were wondering, is that it's you kind of just turn left and right, and you stay on like a fixed horizontal.
That's what you do. You can't actually like look up
so
and down.
if there's enemies above you, you just move horizontally until you're under them and shoot, and it'll shoot them for you effectively. Which is fine if they're like on a ledge or something, but if you're on stairs, it's weird because you're aiming at people out there in the very top portion of the screen and just trying to line up. It's nice. The curse or the crosshairs turn red when you're actually over an enemy, which is helpful.
It's like 2D kind of like the original game where it's kind of 3D.
I think it's 2D sprites, but you don't really notice it all that much when you're actually playing.
Really?
Yeah. The 2D sprites are very well made because the 2D sprites are essentially sort of like digitized pictures. What happened when they were making the game, obviously I'm not going to try and take away from Sam too much, just a nice bit of an explanation, is they basically made these 3D models. I can't remember if they made them out of plasticine or something, but they made these 3D models and then they took pictures of them on like a rotating thing, and they turned those pictures into pixel art, which is why I think the pixel art holds up quite well, because it's based on actual 3D models, so characters turn nicely.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's really
that makes a lot of sense, yeah.
I wish I could do that.
Those 2D sprites, you kind of notice that it's just a still image. I'm guessing they adjusted depending on what angle you're looking at it.
Yeah. And the other interesting thing about that is the reason that Doom exists. This is like a very widely known thing about Doom. So honestly, it's not like a groundbreaking thing I'm going to mention. But the reason that we have Doom in the state that we do is because originally the company, id Software, wanted to make a game based on the Alien franchise, but that company, is it Paramount or Warner Brothers or something? It might be Paramount. I can't remember off the top of my head. But they basically were like, well, you can make it as long as we retain, creative control. And id Software went, no. And so they just sort of like half-based a game on the D&D game that they were playing at the time, where demons had invaded Earth.
Nice.
Which is why the Kako demons look exactly or very, very similar to the Beholders of Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, because they basically just sort of like took a picture of that and then they made a model based on it slightly and changed some of it around.
What do they look like again? Is it like they're just like
big old eyes floating?
The Kako demons are like the big balls with like a mouth and the eyes on. Those are based on Beholders from D&D.
That makes so much sense, because I think I got the book. I was like, why is this the thing from Doom on the cover? That makes so much sense.
Yeah.
So again, thanks to D&D again.
Yeah.
Whatever classic.
Cool. Anything else you wanted to mention, Sam?
So in terms of story, that's pretty much it. There really isn't really a story as far as I can tell. Like you kind of you press new game and you're just there and you start shooting stuff. And
yeah, you start the game. There's a pistol on the floor in front of you. You pick it up and you start shooting.
Yeah. Is it Mars base? Is it?
Well, from what I can tell, it's got the level names, like the only thing I can really get any actual setting info from, and there's some which are like Phobos Lab, which is one of Mars's moons. I'm guessing. I know it's a moon. I'm assuming it's Mars just because I know something about Doom.
I believe.
And there's another one which was Deimos or something.
Deimos.
I think that's also one of the moon. Yeah, something like that. So yeah, see the Mars or Mars's moons. Who knows?
I believe it's Mars, and it's just named after some of the moons.
Yeah. About half of the enemies in the levels that I've played were just they just kind of look like humans, like human marines that are just shooting you. I'm assuming because I played the recent Dooms that they're supposed to be like reanimated or possessed or something.
Possessed,
but
yes.
You can't tell.
Yeah.
So it just feels like And because the demons are absolutely everywhere throughout these facilities, it just feels kind of like I've just gone to their place and just invading these humans and demons that have just been hanging out together, rather than there being a demon invasion.
So
of
the
some
game, the original game doesn't explain this, but
Yeah.
the plot of the original game is that you play as a nameless, disgraced Marine who punched your officer, your commanding officer, because he commanded you to fire upon civilians. And obviously, as a punishment, you get relegated to like the backwaters, this Mars facility that is a position, a command that nobody wants, and you're not even given a gun. That's how little they trust you now. And then all shit goes down, and they're doing demonic sort of like research, and something goes wrong, and demons invade Mars. Now, as the series goes on, it gets more ridiculous because I think in Doom 2, you get back and you just want to live. However, they kill your pet rabbit, and now you want revenge.
That was it.
So that's where John Wick got it from.
Pretty much, yeah. It's a classic story. But, yeah.
So technically, he's the original John Wick.
Pretty much. There's probably somebody famous who did it beforehand, but he is that kind of character. Except rather than, taking on a single or one or two crime families, he's taking on every single demon in any reality ever.
Yeah.
That's pretty badass.
To be honest, that's probably where John Wick's going to go.
Just
Given that
the
majority of the population are apparently assassins.
It's the thing. I like the world building of 3, and it had some funny moments, but every single fight dragged on. Anyway, let's not get bogged down in John Wick.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's a funny comparison.
Well, I was surprised they haven't introduced that more, like the whole backstory to the Doom guy. So I feel like all those little things, but like the whole thing of the base being like a backwater kind of thing as well.
Well, that's the thing. There is a object in existence called the Doom Bible. This is this is what it was called by the dev team, but it was called the Doom Bible because it was essentially like, I want to say like a 300 or 350 or something like that word document. This is a really big document that explained the history of all these kinds of things. Like loads and loads of different aspects of the game were discussed in this book. But they didn't want to put it in because I think it was John Carmack, one of the lead devs, who, when approached with this book, pretty much just sort of went, no, we're not putting that in the game. And I think it's like a famous quote that's along the lines of, which it definitely does not hold up, I'm going to say now, as you'll hear. Yeah, it's something like, story in video games is like story in porn. It's nice to be there, but we don't need it.
Yeah.
Which, as Foley can tell you from him really enjoying Alan Wake, has not aged well.
2 ways then.
Yeah.
He'd say that dev got fired.
What, John Carmack? Oh no, he's still really big in the industry. He was one of the biggest devs behind the Oculus Rift.
Oculus Rift.
Yeah, he was one of the. He was a big. He still is considered one of the titans of game tech. He's very, very good. Obviously, he's changed his perspective, but you've got to remember that a lot of the time, games of that time were pretty much. This is like an action game. Because
people started like beat me ups at that point.
Yeah, right. Games that were popular at the time were beat 'em ups, adventure games. If you were going for an adventure game, that's when the story would matter. But this is Doom. You just here's a gun, have fun. That's all you really need to know for Doom. Which is why I think a lot of people think it's aged quite well. I'm not personally that big a fan of it, but I don't mind that kind of game. If that makes sense. Doom, I find myself wandering around a lot more, wondering where I am.
Yeah.
A lot of the time I have to play with... If you click tab, a map appears on the screen. I find myself generally having to play with that map overlay quite often. I get lost so easy. And I think a lot of the reason that some of the speedrunners and what is now generally referred to as a boomer shooter, people who like those games are better at those games and look at them so fondly, is because back then you had 7 games? So you would just learn all of those games so easily. Nowadays, it's not even like they've not got any patience for this game, or they're just, doing something else, or we've got better games. No, your game's not necessarily better. It's that every other game was terrible. There was, like, you gotta. It's like with music. The classics get remembered because they're good, and there's like one classic in every 20 terrible songs.
You can bump that ratio up a bit.
I was trying to be nice. Sam, But there are so many games that you look back and you're just like, this was a game? This is terrible.
It's kind of the same thing as with what the hell that fairy tale game was I did last time.
Yeah.
Where if that's the only game you have, you could put a lot of time into it and actually really enjoy it.
Yeah.
But if you've got the option for anything else,
you would play
it. You don't have a very limited number of games.
Well, the thing is, it's not always
things you can play.
It's not always just a case of you'll spend a lot of time on this game because you've not got anything else. There are some games that I just reckon are very good. Like as Sam knows, I am a big fan of the Pokemon series, and I have put a lot of hours into Pokemon Emerald. I love that game, but it also helps that it's a game that I can very legally run on my phone.
Your phone is a Game Boy Advance?
Yes, my phone's a Game Boy Advance.
Oh.
Yes, it's very, very good.
Yeah, that's right, console.
It's not an emulator that I'm using at all. But that is a game that I can play on the go, so it's much easier for me to sink hours into it. If you've got a computer, just open Steam, go to the store, and you can scroll down for 5 minutes solid, and that's not even like 1% of all games on Steam.
Scroll down to TF2, ignore it, and get something else.
There's so much option and variety. There is a game for every niche, no matter what niche you're playing. And if you want to play a good shooter, there is so many good shooters out there. Why would you go back and play Doom now? Doom holds up with the gameplay. It is still very fun, but you get lost so easily because not a lot of gaming conventions were a thing.
I didn't struggle that much.
I was just constantly... Thank you.
I know what you mean, but yeah.
Yeah, I was constantly...
There's this nice thing of making it obvious when there's a door there, and it only fills in with an area when you've actually been through into it. So, for the most part, you can, if you hit a dead end and you're not sure where you go, you can open the map, look around and say, that door's there. It's not color-coded, which means I don't need a keycard for it. I'll go that way.
That was my biggest issue, is that doors on the map don't look coloured, if I remember correctly.
They do if you've tried them.
I probably had not tried them.
Or I think if you just go up to them, they colour code. Yeah.
I didn't remember it being colour coded. But yeah, I just found myself wandering around a lot because I felt like I found I think this was in Doom 2, that I found it was Doom 64, I remember now. I found all of the secret areas in the first level, but I couldn't find the exit.
Yeah.
That may just me not paying any attention, but I had to look up a walkthrough to find where the exit was because I just couldn't find it.
How long did you spend on that?
Only about 10 minutes. It was only about 10 minutes. It wasn't too long.
Yeah. One thing I liked about the secret areas is that they were, at least the ones I found, were sort of vaguely intuitive, at least, about how you get to them. It's not like just some random bullshit where you tap on a wall 3 times, you open the wall opposite it, and you get teleported out,
Is this like Elden Ring?
No.
Oh, God.
Just because I'm thinking of tapping the wall in Elden Ring or something.
Yeah. Is it Marathon? That's something like that? I'm not sure.
Oh, God. Yeah, we won't talk about Marathon. Because
that's the answer to my what games this remind you of, by the way. Shockingly, the game inspired by Doom.
I mean, obviously, I think a game that I quite like is Duke Nukem 3D.
Oh, God.
Not Duke Nukem Forever. I enjoy that game, but I know it's a piece of shit. Don't get me wrong. It does not play well. And some of my humour and enjoyment comes from it is that voice lines are so badly delivered. You're like, did you get any direction to this at all? Some of the voice lines have like a solid 3 seconds of delay in fast-paced dialogue. It's like they're like, and you can't tell me. I can tell you what I'm talking, and you're like, where's the?
It's like Skyrim dialogue.
Yeah,
but worse.
The fact you actually hear them go, actually, can I do that take again? So, that's what Duke did.
it's that quality, but all over the game. So
Music was good.
music was good. Well, I mean,
UI was unobtrusive for the most part.
Mm.
Oh, actually, that one thing that pissed me off was when you switch weapons, it takes forever for some reason, which is weird because the rest of the game's pretty fast paced. And if you don't have ammo in a weapon and you get some ammo for it, it seems to automatically just switch you to that weapon. You can be in the middle of a firefight, kill someone, they drop ammo, you walk over it, and then you're just slowly switching weapon while getting shot. And it's unhelpful, I will say.
I can imagine.
Yeah, and the damage. So at least for the levels I played, it seems to vary from just being really easy for the majority of the level, except for when you just get like walk into a room or you trigger something, and then you get ambushed by like 50 enemies in a closed area. Sometimes with the entrance closing behind you, and then you just get overwhelmed and die. And yeah, I think I prefer it if it was more of a wearing down across the level or something, resource management rather than getting unlucky and getting unable.
I didn't want you
starting
to
the level from the beginning.
It's one of the things that I would not enjoy Duke Nukem as much as I do. Is I play World Tour, which is like the 20th, 30th anniversary. It wouldn't be the 30th because it came out after Doom. It's like maybe like the 25th anniversary or something like that. But what happens is when you die in that, you die, but then it comes up with like a little timeline thing, and you can go back to a previous point that you were playing and continue from there.
That's cool.
That's pretty cool, yeah.
And I was like, if the original Doom had this, I would actually play it, because honestly, spending like, I don't know, 8 minutes trying to find something that I was just missing like an idiot, finding it and then dying like 10 seconds later because it triggers a room full of people who come out and attack me, isn't fun. But if that, and because then you have to redo the entire level. But if this was a thing, then I would probably play it because then I would know that the people are there. It's not surprised as much. But yeah, so out of 5.
One last thing.
Yes.
I find it funny that you got a bunch of dangerous demons coming at you. Some of them throwing weird fireballs. You got the giant eyeballs, where they're called.
Cacodemon.
Observers on them. Yeah, Cacodemon. Shooting fireballs. The most dangerous ones are just the humans because they got a hit scan shotgun.
Yeah,
So you can't just like strafe out the way of their attack.
it's even worse in Doom 2 because there are hit scan chain gunners.
Ooh,
Yeah, they're not pleasant.
I do like the way that sort of
though.
emphasizes positioning. You pop around, shotgun, and pop back. Find sighting. It's nice.
Probably
Yes.
better than Blood, I think is the name of the game. Blood is another boomer shooter-esque game, and that one is considered, it's like Doom, but the difficulty is like Doom on steroids. The harder difficulty on Doom is like the easier difficulty on Blood, because for perspective, you start the game with nothing but dynamite that also injures you.
I'm assuming you can throw rather than just
Yeah, you throw it.
melee dynamite.
Yeah, you're not just smacking people with dynamite.
Yeah.
No, you throw it.
Yeah.
Any questions for Sam Foley?
Did you? So overall,
Mhm.
how did you find the experience then?
Yeah, I mean, it's fun enough. It kind of leaves me sort of wondering why I'm playing it. Right, half an hour now.
Do you see yourself playing it again?
No, unlikely.
Would you recommend it to anybody else?
I mean, it's worth a try.
For the experience, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, why not? I certainly just finished the Doom remake.
See how far we have come, brothers. So out of 5 for story, what do you reckon?
1, not 0, because there's games like, ever heard of Haze,
Oh no.
where the story
It's there,
just
it's
gets
just
in the
bad.
way and just prevents you from actually enjoying the game. At least in this, they didn't bother. You can just play the game, so it's not 0, but there also isn't a story really, so it's a 1.
Yeah. God, they held on to that for so long, because is it Quake? Quake has like no story either. It's mental.
Oh, didn't they remaster that recently?
Yeah,
or, like,
they did release that fairly recently, yeah.
I think I may have played like Quake Arena or something.
Quake Arena's a
Open
bit of a
source
different
version.
thing, really.
Yeah, that's all I played of it.
Gameplay out of 5, what do you reckon?
I gave it a 3 with a weighting of it being 30 years old.
The 3 is just you getting rid of the 0 on that 30 is what that is. That's all that is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, for 1 point for every decade. Design.
Does that mean in 50 years
go-
we'll get 5 out of 5? It's like perfect game.
No, it's exponential after the first 3. I'm gonna go.
Yes.
It's just both of us saying, nope, not continuing that.
Yep, sure.
Yep.
Say what you want for that.
Design. It's got to be between a 2 and a 3. I'm probably going to stick with a 2, to be honest.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
He's being quite generous, to be honest. Like...
Yeah. I think that does have a certain unfortunate effect with the score history, but...
That means that you have rated Doom 6 out of 15, lower than Fairy Tale.
I think Fairy Tale benefited from having a story, so I don't think it's. Well, it probably didn't.
On this scoring system, using these ones,
more averagely
it's not
average.
Good. Yeah.
No.
However, that also comes with the caveat of there are so many better FPS games now.
Yeah.
It's not as good.
Yeah.
Which is a bit of a shame, but that makes sense.
What can you do?
Not much, frankly.
Yeah, exactly.
So, reviews. I have 2 reviews. I have one from an official reviewer, and I have one from a not so official reviewer that I thought was very funny.
What are the dates on these reviews?
One of them is from 1994, and the other one I think was from 2000.
When was the game released again, sorry?
1993.
Presumably.
Oh, okay. Oh, it's going to be interesting.
So which one would you rather?
Let's go with the official one first.
Let's go with the official one. Okay. This one is from Edge Magazine. Right. The review reads as follows. I believe this is just sort of like an overview of it. This isn't the entire review because it had a lot of technical stuff. But this one was...
Abstract.
As it is, once the power of Doom's graphics has worn off, they're amazing, so give that at least a week or 2, you'll be longing for something new in this game. If only you could talk to these creatures, then perhaps you could try and make friends, form alliances. Now that would be interesting, and that gives it a 7 out of 10.
I can't tell if they're being ironic or not.
I don't know. I've got no idea.
I'm assuming... I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and say they don't mean specifically these creatures, but, just add more to the game. Any dialogue is my charitable interpretation.
Yes. And now the second one we have is a review by a gentleman called John Gocke, Gocke. And this is on a website, I found this on a website, called christiananswers.net.
Oh.
So this is going to be a spicy one. The ratings they've got are adult content, violence, gameplay, and Christian rating. They put adult content 5 out of 5, none. However, they've also got violence 1 out of 5, extreme.
I mean,
it's more the fact that they put there's no adult content, but there's a lot of violence.
I'm assuming they mean like nudity and sexual.
I get what that means, but it's just there's a bit of a. Also, they rated gameplay 5 out of 5, excellent. They'd say the game itself is excellent. But the Christian rating is 2 out of 5, offensive.
Oh.
So they're like, it's an excellent game, but it's very offensive.
Well, you think like a game about fighting demons would be right up their alley, to be honest. Like,
it's a game about the biggest Christian in history, definitely.
It's just solving the demon problem with a gun and a chainsaw. That's what it is.
As the player in the Ultimate Dooms, I believe this is the one from 1995, but most of the talking points would still stand. You are a futuristic space marine on a rescue mission to a distant planet to find out why a marine base has lost contact with Earth. No.
News to me.
When you arrive, you're immediately dropped into a pulse-pounding war zone where the only way to stay alive is by blasting through a relentless army of bloodthirsty demons. The goal is to stay alive. The only way to do this is to kill the demons, pick up their weapons, and use them to kill other demons. No, the demons don't drop any weapons. Only the possessed humans.
I will give the benefit of the doubt and say that possessed humans have demons in them.
Okay.
But yeah, I did notice that as well.
Violence. Instead of merely watching the violence, this game puts you into the violence. The player is merely seen as a hand with a gun ready to kill. At first you think your mission is to save your marine friends, but you quickly find out that they are either already dead or under the demon's control. Your only hope for survival is to kill your friends or be killed by them. You are literally being trained to kill your friends, in inverted commas. When they die, you see their blood splatter on the dark and eerie walls.
Very
No,
specific.
the game was not that. No computer was powerful enough to do that.
Nah. They do splatter. They just
They can't
Yeah,
splatter
vanish.
and remain there. You hear
That's
the
just an
demons
explosion.
growling, and you know they are lurking around every corner. You can almost feel them breathing down the back of your neck. The fright is real as you fight your
accurate
way
until the
through.
last bit.
Yeah, to be fair, back then it was probably quite.
It was
a
useful
spooky
for locating enemies. They're kind of going, "Rawr!"
As you fight your way through each level, you notice many of your marine friends disemboweled and crucified with pentagrams drawn on the walls in their blood. Jesus.
That was one of the things I was missing. In the one I was playing, there weren't any dead bodies or anything around, and that's what part of what contributed to it feeling like it was just their facility, you know. And I was just intruding because there wasn't any like destroyed machinery or anything. They were in every single room, so clearly they've been there a while.
When you end up being killed by the progressively bigger and badder demons on each new level, the screen pans back to show your dying body crumpled to the ground, and the bloodthirsty demons eating you like a piece of meat. No, they just stand there.
Not in my one. It just kind of
They just don't
pretends
look.
you haven't died until you hit space, and then it goes back to the start of the level.
I mean, like, it literally, when you die, it's like in Skyrim, where they're like, must have been the wind, or where's this gone? They just sort of stand there awkwardly. Then there's a category called illegal/harmful behaviour. It is not illegal to kill demons, is the first line of this.
Nice.
But this game definitely teaches you to shoot first and ask questions later. As stated earlier, your friends have now become the enemy, and you must kill them to survive. Unlike police training, where you are taught to identify good guys from bad guys, anything that moves is your enemy and should be blasted instantly. Even your friends. Extra points are given for a shot in the head.
I wonder if they like the SWAT games. Those are a pain, making you check that they weren't civilians before shooting.
Yeah, that's true. It's just the fact that it says extra points are given for a shot in the head. You can't shoot them in the head because you can't look up.
Yeah.
It is literally not possible to shoot them
These
in the
caco
head.
demons.
That's the only one you can shoot.
They're
in the
all
head.
head.
Language. No discernible bad language is used in the game. Both the player and the demons scream when they are being dealt a death blow.
Nobody speaks.
There's a tag here called occult/supernatural, which is most of the scenery is filled with dripping bloody pentagrams and upside down crosses, as well as other overt satanic imagery. I mean, to my memory, there's only one bit in any of the games that had that kind of thing in, like obvious satanic imagery, other than like occasional.
Oh, there's pentagrams
There's
around.
some
In the one I
pentagrams.
played. Nothing else.
The main one that I remember is
Sad.
there was a big lift in one of the games that was a swastika.
Nice.
And you'd click on it and the swastika would lower. And a lot of people complained about this, and so they removed it from subsequent and future and patched it out. But you've got to remember that they're clearly not Nazis. This is the same company that had just made a game called Wolfenstein, a game where you kill a fuck ton of Nazis. They've made it very clear that it was literally just a reference to Wolfenstein, and they didn't think, I wonder if we put a Nazi, like, swastika in the game, I wonder if people will think we're Nazis. Like, that's just sort of like bad planning, really, isn't it?
At least they didn't do the classic, just make the entire map into a giant swastika.
Oh god, one of the...
That would have been more difficult to patch out.
One of the original Legend of Zelda dungeons is that. But that's because...
Hey, they're Japanese, aren't they? So
in Shinto, that's actually like a... Is it Shinto? Is that the religion?
Hinduism, I think.
Yeah. In a religion, I think probably Hinduism, that's actually a good symbol. And Japan didn't really pay much attention to swastikas. Because they were just...
They're already everywhere.
Yeah, they didn't give a shit as far as they were concerned. But yeah, we're not through the review yet. We got... This incredibly bloodthirsty game is literally a walk through hell. This is the conclusion. Doom was the first popular killing for fun simulations. No. Like Missile Command probably is one of them, which I don't think you even know that game. It's that old.
No.
And by today's standards, considered mild. At first, the player is grossed out by the blood and the gore. Okay. Sav just shaking his head. But as it continues to play, it becomes commonplace. Playing this game for 1 hour may be acceptable. Playing for many hours could cause for anxiety and or depression. Playing for hundreds of hours is getting you ready to take action against anyone who gets in your way.
Rhys, stop talking about dodgy things. This was also cut due to Rhys being an asshole. Also, this is not Bill Gates, just a TTS tool. I've been told we sound alike, but that is all a coincidence, I promise.
But yeah, let's move away from that sort of like dark tangent.
Indeed.
Doom receives a 41% in F due to the abundance of violence, gore, and occult influence.
F.
Yeah, there's there's a couple of sort of like reviews or like comments at the bottom. Two of them, by the looks, mock the whole extra points for shooting in the head part,
Yeah.
and a lot of them are just sort of like mocking them relentlessly for that fact. But yeah, I thought that was quite a fun review. Obviously, Doom sort of like came out towards the end of what is called the Satanic Panic in America. Tragic stuff all around, like genuine, a lot of fun of stuff. In hindsight, has come out of that because it's ridiculous. But unfortunately, a lot of people tragically lost their lives and that kind of thing. But we can always look back and laugh at the idiots who were just like, oh, this kind of thing is going to destroy the nation. Well, it's been 30 years since Doom.
And look at the state of the place.
They were right.
Exactly.
We're doomed. We should have listened. That was a premonition. But no. Cool. So now it is time for you two to figure out what the link between those two is.
Guns. Yeah.
So like a sci-fi shooter and a Wi-Fi, a Western
A
film.
Wi-Fi.
A Wi-Fi shooter.
My.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't. What could it be?
It's funny because before
Lots of people die in it.
before we discussed, or before we started rather, Sam jokingly said that I had just given you the Doom movie.
Yeah. What was the link?
Is it a Doom?
What could it be?
I'd rather watch that, to be honest.
At least that's funnily bad, not just bad.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Cool.
Oh,
So,
I watched
discuss.
a recent Doom film that came out. That was just bad.
Annihilation.
Maybe. Oh, I did like how they made the demons talk. Some.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So, connection.
Anyway, link.
What do you reckon?
I'm just trying to.
Discuss.
I mean, the only commonality I can think of is that, guns and
Like-
lots of dying.
I would say go up against an evil force as well, but, it's like,
Yeah.
but demons and outlaws are completely different. So. I don't know. It's just like it's like
It's gonna be some bullshit like, oh, it's overrated.
No. This one has a very legitimate connection.
Okay.
It's not just. This one is not opinion based.
Oh, okay. I just want to know if they share anything now. Like,
This one is. I mean, if you
Right.
want a hint, do you want a hint, or do you want
Go
to
for
wait? Do you want to wait a minute? Have a little bit
I
more
mean,
discussion.
it could be something like, I would say actor based, but I don't think there's really any actors in Doom. It doesn't necessarily need to be the content.
I mean, they did have an advert for Doom a while back. I've probably mentioned this to you two before somewhere. Hell, I may have even mentioned it in the last podcast, which is
why did you say hell like that?
well, there was no connection to the hint for that. But
Oh,
at
what
one
is-
point,
very-
it was Bill Gates green screened himself into Doom to make a advert for Microsoft Windows. Because Doom, the original Doom, is the only game to have sold better than Windows.
Oh, that's so weird.
Yeah.
If it worked,
I'm
it
going to
worked.
listen back to the other podcast and
Windows
find
there,
out
aren't you?
that a year ago I mentioned that. Because I've got sort of like deja vu, so I feel like I have. Cool. Connection, guys.
What could it be, Sam? What could it be?
I'm struggling to think of anything.
I want to say there's like a Western kind of like feel to it, but I don't know. But it's not. No,
Not that.
Not in Doom.
I do. No, I do.
I mean, I'd watch a Western with it. Just some guy to show that and just kills everything that moves.
John Wick is a Western.
Yeah,
I love that review. Anything
the
that
first
moves.
quarter of the film's been cut off. We just start shooting shit and just continue.
Oh, dear.
Oh,
Uh,
gee. It's gonna be so simple, isn't it?
Something a cult in Magnificent Seven, is there?
Something to do with that.
I don't know.
You have... Okay, so you want the hint?
Sure, yeah, go for it.
You have already discussed what the link was off the cuff during this podcast.
Really?
Yes, you have both mentioned...
Was it in this section or
It was not in this section, it was earlier on, but you have both mentioned what the connection is.
Mars. I don't think Mars is much since
It's just
The Mandalorian.
It's just Charles Bronson who's just standing there, just like, "We're cowards. You're not cowards. Do you know how I know you're not cowards? Your parents never went to Mars. On Mars, there's an ancient facility that has been used to study demons." And the kids are like, "I don't understand. What are you talking about?" And they're like, "This ancient facility was used to research demons. And then the demons came out. And they killed Steve McQueen's character's rabbit. And he's been hunting them ever since." And this is like, "Mr. Bronson, what are you talking about?" It's like, "I'm not Mr. Bronson. That's my actor." I don't know how to go with it.
I think I may know what it is.
Ooh, yep. Do you want to have Foley to have a guess?
Yeah, go for
Is
it.
it? Yep. Foley, you got 2 guesses before Sam says what he gets his guesses.
I have no idea what. It's such a weird thing. Like a Western, I don't know, weird.
It is.
It's a meta thing.
Yeah, it's a meta thing. It's not to do with the contents of the games. Is the only clue I'll give you for that.
I can't think. We've already discussed this.
We've already discussed it. One of them was in
Separately.
pass. One of the parts was in passing. The other one was in a little bit more detail.
Oh God, I don't know. I feel like is it kind of controversial or anything, or like?
Not to do with the controversy. No.
No. Okay, I have no idea.
Shall we give it over to Sam?
Go to Sam.
Sam, what do you think is it?
I'm thinking that they've both had remakes recently.
There's a very close. There's one
Or-
very
Or
specific thing.
sequels or something.
No, there's one very specific factor.
Oh.
They've both had remakes that
With
were
Chris
out.
Pratt in them.
Yes, with Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt's the Doom guy.
That would be amazing. They both had remakes that were out in the same year, 2016.
Oh,
Ah,
of
that one good.
course.
Both of them had remakes out in 2016.
Oh, I hate you.
See,
Oh,
see what I
I
mean?
hate it.
It's a very...
I wouldn't have got it without the
connection.
clue.
You wouldn't,
Yeah.
because
I hate you.
Sam
More or
literally
less what it-
asked what your opinion was on the reboot as well.
Yeah.
Of course he did.
And then I very briefly mentioned the Doom.
Yeah. See what I mean? Like,
Is that seriously
Yeah.
2016?
yeah, they
the
were both
remake?
out in 2016, I believe.
Oh my God. No, of course it would be, because
In order to prove to me that it was out in 2016, I googled Magnificent 7 2016, as if that wouldn't skew the results slightly for me.
I was really hoping you'd say, you're searching, you go, actually 2017.
Well, they both had remakes in the late
You just
20s.
close the tab.
I just never mention it. Just get a comment on it and just be there like, "I don't know what
Delete.
you're talking about. Let's move on from this."
It depends what country you're in.
Actually, released late in Tibet. Yeah.
I'm telling you now, I have a feeling that I did talk about the Bill Gates thing in the last one. And it's been a year. So what we need to do is we need to make that a recurring gag and talk about that every single time.
I mean, we did pre-warn them about the repetition.
I
Yeah,
did.
exactly.
I did.
Yeah.
To be fair, which is bad that it's already got repetition in episode 2.
It's all come full circle already. Love it.
Ridiculous.
Can that be our sponsor? Just Bill Gates, just in that.
Just an AI version of Bill Gates just being there like... And then people are going to be like, that's a bit of a weird Bill Gates thing. Well, they're going on the sketch. And then they'll get to here and they'll be there like, oh, it was all planned in advance. As funny as I think that would be, I'm probably not going to do that.
Just do what they're doing
yeah.
too, like just make clay model, then
Just
stick
a
him
model
on.
of Bill Gates' face.
Bill Bates.
Bill Bates.
Just with
Bill
Microsoft.
Bates.
It's like Microsoft Sam was like, "Hi there, it is me, Bill Gates. I am here to
Right.
tell you about." And it's just like, what?
Ah,
I mean, it could work. Be better than AI. So
God,
sure could.
terrible, really terrible.
I still hate you.
It was a.
I need to. I'm going to really prepare myself for the next episode. I really am. So I look at every possible aspect, like what could be the link.
Yeah,
I still want to be. I still want to
Got
be
one of
there.
those serial killer wolf in like every facet of the film.
Like it's always sunny. Like
Background.
everything's linking to nothing. Like it means nothing. It's like that. Oh, they've got the same name. It's like,
Well,
oh, great.
you got to remember that in the first one, the connection was I don't like them, so that might mean nothing.
I love how that did go completely astray because I watched the one. I watched the one you didn't like.
Yeah, the connection was completely ruined because you watched the wrong
Connection was
film.
I liked one of them.
I like one of them, the other one I don't like, which is even more a stretch
Yeah.
of a connection. Oh, good God.
Thanks for watching the Janky-B-Cast. You can find Foley at his YouTube channel, Dopey Mr. Foley, and Sam at his house in Hong Kong.